AfterDeath by Emo.Oko. Chapter 2. Stay awake. Death swiftly brought his scythe down. Blood-curdling scream emitted from the monster he had reaped, but only for a few seconds before it died into silence. The monster's body fell limply to the ground and its soul hovered above it. Death grabbed it and put it in his pouch. The same process continued again and again, every time, every day. It was all the same. He was getting bored and irritated. Death heaved a tired sigh as he took out a dark brown notebook from his pocket. He flipped through the pages and scanned the text. It contains names and other information of monsters and humans he needed to reap. It's not like Death needs to check who he needs to reap. He can feel and locate a dying soul with his own senses. He rarely used the notebook, and right now was those rare times. Death skimmed through the text carefully. The dying souls considerably decreased, which was a good thing, but Death could feel that something was off. Something's wrong. Was it just his own imagination? After all, it had been an unusual day for him. Reaping less souls than normal was indeed rare. Maybe Death just wasn't used to it. Death tried to shrug the feeling off, but for some reason it just wouldn't go away. He felt uneasy and a little anxious for no reason. Weird. It's not about Geno, right? The thought lingered in his mind for a few moments, his anxiety growing, but he forcefully pushed it down. He took a deep breath to calm himself. Nope. Geno's fine. Death chanted in his head. He had just visited him yesterday. He seemed to be doing okay. Or was he? A small voice on the back of his head said. Death shook his head to clear his thoughts. No, he was just worrying over nothing. Returning his focus on the notebook, he found that he had already reaped all the souls for the day. Huh, guess I'm done. Death mumbled before opening a portal and stepping through. He landed in the throne room of Asgore's castle in his own universe. Hey, Asgore, Death casually greeted as he approached the king, who was sipping a tea silently in his throne, which made Undyne, who was standing beside the king, glare at Death for his rudeness and lack of respect to the king. Death silently chuckled at her face. King Asgore visibly brightens up, even though his mood was already good. Death, buddy, I wasn't expecting you to be back this early. Asgore greeted back. Death shrugged his shoulders. There weren't much souls for me to reap today, he nonchalantly said as he reached into his pouch. It looked like a small brown sack with a black string tied to keep its contents secure inside, which contains the souls that he had reaped for the day, and tossed it to Undyne. The humanoid fish caught it efficiently, her glares never waver, and an almost permanent frown on her lips. She left to bring it to wherever it needs to be. As soon as she went through the door and out of sight, the king heaved a sigh, almost disappointed. You missed one, Asgore said, his previous enthusiasm suddenly gone. Death's smile flattened for a moment. That soul has been overdue for weeks. Is there a problem with it? Asgore continued, his voice mild and gentle. Nope, not at all. Death's smile was back, but inside he felt anxious. I'm just lazy, he added casually with a shrug. Asgore frowned in disapproval. I could assign the soul to others. Nah, I'm fine. I'll take care of it. Death cut the king off, who seemed unaffected. Alright, but please do it as soon as possible. You know what happens if you don't, Asgore warned. He knew exactly what the king was talking about. Yeah, sure, he shrugged, and turned around and began walking off, out of the throne room. As soon as Death was out of the room and into the hallway, he heaved a shaky breath. Inwardly, he was drowning in anxiety. He knew he had to reap Reaper's soul sooner or later, but the mere thought of it breaks his soul into pieces. He knows he has to do it, but he couldn't bring himself to. He can't. He can't kill his one and only love. Tears began forming at the brim of his eye sockets, but he blinked it away. He took a shaky breath to calm himself. He checked the time and found that it was fairly early in the morning. He had the rest of the day off, more time to spend with Geno. Death smiled softly at the thought. Even just the mere thought of Geno made him calm. Death sighed. More relaxed this time, before ripping a portal straight through the save screen. Death landed on the black void of the save screen. It's not dark, but there's no light either. It's like a large black room. Death walked a little further to where Geno always was. He was thinking of surprising him. Death had told Geno that he was busy during these hours, so Geno surely wouldn't be expecting him. Death grinned wider. He couldn't wait to see Geno. His surprised expression, blushing face, and stuttering, frustrated protests. But as soon as he arrived at the spot where Geno always sat, Death stopped, dead on his tracks. Geno was laying on his side, unmoving, with a pool of crimson marrow underneath him. Death stared in utter horror as the cold dread washed over him. He felt his soul dropped and it particularly stopped pulsing. He couldn't breathe. His mind blank and his body numb due to shock. No! This can't be happening! This is not happening! Geno! Death immediately went to Geno's side. Upon closer inspection, Geno was unhealthy, pale, and gasping for breath. His eye socket was closed shut and his face clearly expressing pain. Death gently tapped Geno's cheekbone. Geno! Death frantically called, but there was no response. But he did notice that Geno was warm. He quickly, but gently, placed his hand over Geno's forehead. Death winced before pulling away. He's burning up. Death was panicking, looking around. Nothing. There was nothing in the save screen that could help him. It was just an empty void. Shit! He can't bring Geno back to his own house. They'll know. They'll find out. But Geno needs help. A weak coughing made Death look back down at Geno. He was coughing up more crimson marrow, dripping down his cheek and joining the pool underneath him. Shit! What should I do? I can't breathe! Death cradled Geno in his arms carefully as not to cause any more unnecessary pain. It works more instantly and Geno breathes more easily. That brought some relief to Death, but it's not over yet. Death gently shook Geno's shoulder. Geno, can you hear me? He called softly, but there was still no response. Death was getting worried as he watched him breathe heavily. His face was getting paler as the seconds passed. Geno. Death practically pleaded, his voice slightly trembling and heavy, laced with worry. Tears began forming on the brim of his eye sockets. He placed a gentle hand on Geno's cheekbone and caressed it with great care, silently pleading for Geno to at least recognize his presence. As if his prayers had been answered, Geno gradually opened his eye socket. Death? Geno called weakly, and Death was relieved. Finally, he got some response. Yeah, I'm here. Don't worry, you'll be fine, I promise. Death soothed as he continued to caress Geno's cheekbone lovingly, but Geno showed no sign of recognition, which made Death feel anxious again. Geno. Death called once again, hastily, expecting the other to respond. But, to Death's utter dread, Geno didn't respond. Not even any sign that he'd heard him. Nothing. He just stayed there, unmoving in Death's arms. Death called him again and again, getting more and more frantic with every call. But there was no response. Death was nearly hyperventilating in anxiety and mild panic. This is bad. Really bad, Death thought. This isn't just some fever. This was something else. Something much worse. What should he do? Geno needs help. Now! Death almost cried in frustration as he hopelessly looked around the black void of the same screen for something, anything that could help Geno. But nothing. There's absolutely nothing here. Death had never felt so helpless. Geno was in pain and he couldn't do anything about it. Death mentally cursed himself in frustration. Death looked back down just in time to see Geno's eye socket slipping closed. Death felt his soul leap in panic and he instantly shook Geno gently. No! Geno! Stay awake! Stay with me! Geno! No! Geno! Please listen to me! You have to stay awake! Please! Just a little longer! Just hang in there! Geno suddenly went limp in Death's arms as his eye socket closed completely. His head lolled to the side and against Death's chest. Geno! Hey there guys, this is Anime Ryu, and Ryu, or just Ryu, guys, I don't know. Not sure how I want to introduce myself to these things, considering this is the second video for this channel. I don't know what I'm doing. But I am Anime Ryu 1 on Wattpad, so if you want to go find me there, it's cool. 18 plus work. Oh, I've got one story. But, okay, never mind. That was some pretty damn selfish promoting, and that was disgusting. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it there, though. That's kind of funny. Alright, so guys, hi, this is, Ryu of Lost in Dub-Slation, and if you wanna give us the little moniker of Lids, that's what, we call ourselves if we wanna not have to actually say the whole damn word out. So, Lids it is. So, yes, this is actually a really great story, and you guys should definitely, certainly, go read it if you have the ability to. I am reading this, actually I chose to start reading this story out loud because I am actually legally blind, and I depend almost entirely on using screen readers, and so that's probably why if you've caught me in a couple of these where I sound like I'm a little mumbly or whatever, it's because I'm trying to read the story and I have a hard time with it. But, you know, Wattpad is not accessible using my Narrator program, so we're doing the best I can. I am doing the best I can. I absolutely love the story, though, and it has made me cry several times. So if you actually don't want to have to wait for me to release a chapter, which will be probably 2 a week, for a long while, then you should probably go read it. It's so good. I have to say that I enjoy it thoroughly, and I'm constantly stalking their page, waiting for a new chap. Let's see, what else do I have to say? Okay, the editing software that we are using in this current time is bad. As you can tell, it is Power Director, and Power Director is poop. Like, serious god dang poop. I would not have used the stuff that I used for effects on the previous chapter, Chapter 1, but from now on, so you guys are aware, if I have anything that needs to have credit, which, like music or, like pictures, you'll have to just go into the description and read the description. The picture in this is by the author, so this epic picture, I love it. I've got it saved on my computer, and it's so cute. Alright, so, bullet number one, go follow Imo de Ako on Wattpad in description. Go favorite and, like, follow the story by Imo de Ako also in the description. If you want to actually catch up with us and have to keep in touch with either I or Proxy, which Proxy has not made any projects yet, but either I or Proxy here on Lost in Dub-Slation, do so. Please go to our Facebook. That too is in the description. I will not put my Wattpad in the description. If you want to find me, just find me. Re-listen to this. Okay, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.